Welcome to Monster Man. I think we're broadcasting.
R? R. Ay, ay, ay.
Now,
We
I'm
are.
not sure where anybody would see this video. That's the other fun part of this. So while we're talking, I'm Jack. That's Hunter. If you've
Hey.
never seen us before, there's probably nobody watching this at the moment, so I'm going to go see if I can find a.
We are too old to be doing anything with technology. We're combined 337.
Here's the live now. I think I found our.
Let's see. Hey, look, see, Horror Miser Monty G's here.
All right, there we are. So I'm going to send this link to the other people in the other chat room.
It really wasn't our fault. YouTube, this was a big Russian conspiracy to keep us off the air. And we got the Spencinator here, so all is well. All is well. Spence is here.
Oh, well, as long as Spence, if Spence found us, that means that other people can find us.
Are you saying that he's perpetually lost?
No, I'm saying he's persistent.
Well, we had a big show planned. We're going to have to cut it in half.
We'll cut it in half, but hey, we made it.
Yeah, exactly. We feel good. I feel like we've accomplished something.
So we're part of the Creepy Marathon.
Yes, which we have to thank Horror Addicts for having us on and apologize for us being the one that spit the bit.
Yes, but well, I guess we made it. We don't, Fleetwood Mac said never break the chain. We bent the chain.
We didn't break it, man.
So if you've never watched Monster Men before, first of all, it's been a while since we've done a show because between technical problems we've had and life, we've been way overdue. This is our first show of the year. Plus, we're off to a hell of a start.
And people want to see us. We're also on Final Guys. So there we're every week because we have a taskmaster in charge.
Yeah, Jason Brandt. So we have an audio podcast that we also live stream on Tuesdays, Final Guys. So we've been there every week. As part of this marathon, what we wanted to do, we were going to do half the show about retro horror and part of it about the best horror of the year of the 21st century. I think we're going to drop the retro part, and we're just going to focus on the best movies of the 21st century. The format that we do here is basically we give each other a lot of crap, and it's like two guys in a bar talking about horror. So very loose format. We'll try and check the chat as well as we can, but we're not very good at that either. So
I'll keep track of it.
Okay, good.
If you wanted two guys in a bar, you should have been here last night because I was a little scotch-eyed. When the snow hits the ground, that's when the booze comes out.
Well, it's interesting because you had mentioned a few weeks ago that you wanted to take a look at the best horror of the 21st century or since the year 2000. Right. And I thought that was a great idea. And then after we decided that we were going to do that, I started to look up movies, based on their year.
Right.
And I have got a giant list of movies since the year 2000. And I got to tell you, I was stunned by how many great movies there's been, because in my mind, nothing new is ever as good as the old stuff. And then I looked, and number one, I was pretty happy that I've seen most of them, but there's a few real big exceptions that I haven't.
One thing I noticed was the aughts started out pretty weak. There was like some Leprechaun movies in there, and just wrong turn movies, and just real crap because it had to wash away that junk from the 90s. I know you love Scream, but
I don't love Scream.
Oh, you know, is it Jason loves Scream? Somebody loves Scream.
I like Rose McGowan in Scream.
She looks like she could be a Scream mask now.
That was her coming out party. That was
But since around I looked at all the movies since around 2007 or 8, horror took a big turn upwards and has been just awesome.
There's stuff though that I didn't even think of as past the year 2000, like Ginger Snaps is the year 2000. I always consider that an older movie, and I'm like, oh, it makes the cut.
I always thought Ginger Snaps was only 10 years old. Shows what I know. Oh, by the way, someone wants to know where we're from. We're from the New York tri-state area in the United States.
Yeah, that was the other thing, trying to get this show ready, and we got a snowstorm last night, so I was outside with the snowblower and then running inside to try and figure out YouTube.
I haven't done a damn thing with the snow except watch it. It's going to get warm here, so why bother shoveling?
True dat.
True that.
So
So
I
since
don't
we
even
can't
know how to
we,
do this. Go ahead.
we can't do a big list, so you're going to have to pare it down to the ones that really tickle your fancy.
I want to give you, there's some honorable mentions that we have to go through. And then if we bring one up, I guess we can always label it as I feel that that's a top 10 or that's a top 20 or
Right.
just ones that are that should be mentioned. For instance, a movie that's in the year 2000 or the 21st century that I don't think is a top 20, but is a movie of note would be Session 9.
Oh, Such a Night's a great movie.
Yeah. Now I went to that where they filmed that, the Danvers State Hospital. We did a show about it. It's now knocked down as haunted condos. uh,
Did you put a down payment on one?
you know, I wouldn't be surprised if those things are going for a lot of money. It's in pretty good. It's a very, very good location.
Does like a condo get more? Is it like do you get more for it if you have a solid haunting within the walls of that particular condo? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I have
This
actually
is
asked real estate.
body shoot I live in.
I've actually asked real estate people if you have to disclose hauntings, and I never get the same answer from anybody. But it sounds like you're supposed to. But how can you really enforce that?
You can't. I'll tell you a movie that I love that has been in a 21st century, The Descent.
Oh,
which
no, see, that's like top 10.
That's the, and I'm going to stick to the really, really good ones in the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen. This movie is awesome. This is one of the best monster movies probably since Alien. And to me, it's kind of like Alien Underground, you know, freaky things, and it's girl power.
The claustrophobic nature of that movie is one of the things that just makes it work so well.
And it's got a great cover.
Oh, yeah.
I love ladies covered in blood. Madam
Well, I'm going to
Bathory.
just turn a light on. Give me a second.
It's turning a light on. We might see more than we want to see. Oh boy, he's muted himself too. Well, while he's doing that, I'll tell you all another one, and you can tell me if you think I'm crazy. Paranormal Activity. I love the first Paranormal Activity.
I'm back. I wouldn't put that in. I wouldn't put that in the top 20, but I would put it in the most influential.
Well, I mean, it spawned a whole bunch of movies, but the first one made it difficult for my wife and I to sleep in our haunted house. So it kind of freaked us out more than it should have.
And Paranormal Activity is one of the. When I was going through this list, I found movies that I don't necessarily rank as amongst my favorite of it, but I rank as influentials. For instance, The Ring.
I don't like The Ring.
Not crazy about it, but you have to give it credit for being one of the biggies of the.
Like that and The Grudge. I know people love those movies, and I was just never into them. No matter what version, American, Korean, Japanese, it didn't matter.
Exactly, but you have to give them, like, they influenced the whole genre for, 10 years after they came out. Everything was a Grudge and a Ring ripoff with that blue filter they would put over the camera and stuff like that. And
hey, the Bearded Slasher said their favorite franchise of the 2000s is the Hatchet franchise.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. That's a bold, you know what? I like that. Throw that out there.
Again, I think I watched the first Hatchet and didn't do much for me.
Here's a good thing. If anyone's in the New Jersey area, because Danielle Harris is in Hatchet, one of them or two of them, she's going to be at New Jersey Horror Con in a couple of weeks. So you can go meet her and get her autograph.
Here, I'll throw one at you that I also didn't think of as 21st century till I did a list. Slither.
I saw Slither, and as I was going through making some notes, and I said, Jack will put that on his list.
Yes.
I know how much you love that.
Love that. Love that movie. Another one, Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods, excellent. I got no problems with that. What's the stoner guy? I can't remember. I can never remember his name.
Oh, you're the name guy, not me.
I know. He's done some Joss Whedon shows. He was my favorite part in that.
Throw something at me.
All right, I'm going to throw another one at you. The Loved Ones.
I saw that on the list.
My Aussie, I love when Down Under gets Bat Crap Crazy. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. That's 28 weeks later. The Loved Ones reminded me of some ex-girlfriends, possible prom dates that could have tied me up and put drills through me.
Now, see, that's one of those. I feel like that's a find. Not everybody knows that movie, so I
Right.
wouldn't put it like in a top 20, but I would put it in a must see list.
I'm doing this as a public service, so people watch a
Yes.
damn good movie.
I
That's
would
the same guy who did oh my god, what's that movie? The Devil's Candy. Same director.
Oh, now see Devil's Candy. I'd put that in like top 25.
Say I wouldn't. I liked it. I thought it was cool, but
I thought it was a lot of fun. Very good horror comedy showings. I've got What We Do in the Shadows here. And I think the King Daddy would be Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland,
oh, I like that one more.
and Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That is one that doesn't get the credit it should get. That is a funny ass movie.
Yeah, I mean, all four of those. Look, I like Shaun of the Dead better than Zombieland, but I love both of them.
Zombieland has Bill Murray.
Yes.
Boom. Wins right there.
The great thing about Shaun of the Dead is it works as a comedy and as a zombie movie. You know,
It's very comedic. I think, to me, that's way more of a comedy than a horror movie. But I love it. I love those guys. Somebody wrote, somebody mentioned It Follows. Joaquin did. It Follows is my favorite movie since The Thing in, what was that, 81?
we both have
82?
the Blu-ray.
I adore this movie. I adore the originality of it, the execution. I could watch that movie over and over and over again.
The beauty of that movie is the tension. Again, it's like the first time I saw The Sixth Sense. You never know where a ghost is going to be. In this, you never know what it is. And so every time you watch it, you sort of forget.
It is the bad thing that dribbles out of your nether regions. It's the greatest don't have sex movie of all time. Somebody also just mentioned The Mist.
Oh,
that was on my list.
You know,
because The Mist is on my list.
The Mist. I like The Mist, but really, sitting through the whole movie for me isn't the last 15 minutes of that movie is what makes that a legendary movie.
The last 2 minutes are just. I had my daughter. We just turned it on. It was already on, and I said, "You got to stay and watch it." Now she hadn't seen like the first hour and 30 minutes of it, and then when that scene comes up, when should I give it away? Is it a spoiler at this point? When he kills his own son and for nothing, my daughter goes, "Why did you make me watch this?" I think a lot of people had that feeling.
Everybody does, because you couldn't believe they went there. I'll tell you another top 10 for the 21st century. Let the Right One In. The original version, the foreign version. There are very few vampire movies on this list to begin with, and most of the ones that would be on this list are like direct to video. Mm-hmm. That movie is amongst the top vampire movies of all time, and definitely I think in a top 10, and everybody who watches it agrees. The remake's pretty good too, but it's nowhere near as good as the original.
Not the original. The original's just creepy. The atmosphere is so unsettling.
Yeah.
It made me feel dirty. I know Ty West, for some reason, is a controversial figure in horror as a director, but he's got a few movies I really love, and I had to decide which child am I going to pick here, my Sophie's Choice. I went with The House of the Devil.
That is on my giant list, and I thought that's like a top 20.
I love Jocelyn Donahue, but you should all watch this movie now, because her friend who goes with her to the house to babysit and gets her face blown off in the cemetery, that's Greta Gerwig, who was just nominated for an Oscar for writing and directing Lady Bird.
Oh, wow.
Is that crazy?
You're wicked smart.
Wicked. She was also in a Duplass Brothers joint called Baghead, which I just watched last night. It's older. It's like 5 years old or whatever, but I think they shot that movie for $3.33 in a bag of ho-hos. But it's kind of cool.
You know, another classic from the 21st century that, again, I don't think of it as a newer movie because we're so far. I still think the year 2000 is like the other day.
I do.
So
I
I
was
do.
young. I didn't have gray in my beard back then.
Trick or Treat, 2007.
That's a movie we watch every year in Horror-tober.
Yeah, that's a staple. And again, I watch it, and I must think this is 90s.
That movie has such an impact in my house that my 18-year-old, her first tattoo was Sam's lollipop,
which is awesome. Now, I saw you. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to bring up one movie that I took when my father passed away. My mother had to live on her own for the first time in her life. And about a month after that happens, I said, "Hey, Ma, you want to come to the movies with me?" And she says, "Yeah." I took her to see You're Next. About kind of like a home invasion movie. This movie jacked her up. I loved it. I almost wanted to get up and cheer at the end of this movie. I think You're Next and It Follows might be my two favorites since 2000.
It's definitely top 10, top 15.
Top 15, I'll beat your ass down there.
I noticed you held up a movie that I also have, 28 Weeks Later.
Yes.
And it's funny because 28 Days Later is the movie that gets all the hype, and it's definitely a groundbreaking movie and interesting. I actually like 28 Weeks Later better.
I like the weeks better than days myself.
I
don't know what it is about it that I...
You know what it is? Once they get to the house at the end with the soldiers in the first one, I'm not crazy about that third act. I love, like, when the father gets infected. That's tremendous. And then, like, after that, the movie kind of... The soldiers don't do it for me. Whereas in this one, the whole way through is a blast.
And Spencer brought up The Strangers, which I dig The Strangers. My wife likes The Strangers a lot.
Yeah, that sequel's coming out like next month too. That's another. That's a nice kind of poster child for newer movies. Like that almost has like a Last House on the Left kind of the new age. You know, it's just a brutal, no holds barred kind of movie. The tension is ratcheted up for that whole movie.
Right. I'm surprised there's a movie you didn't bring up right away because, I mean, you fawned all over it, and most people have. Get Out.
I was saving that towards the end, but
we're almost at the end. We got 8 minutes to go.
I think Get Out's a fun movie. I liked it better the second time. I saw it in the theater the first time, and one of the best theater experiences I've ever had because the crowd was so into it. Then watching it a second time, I was like, I wonder how this is going to stand up. And it's actually better because you watch now with the knowledge of what's going on. You watch the performances, and you're like, oh wow, this is really brilliant. So.
What gets me is people have anointed Jordan Peele as the grandmaster of horror. And I'm like, wait a second. You made one really good movie that was not as good as Mother.
It's a horror. Well, let's just stop there. Mother
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a bone of contention with us.
I wouldn't even put Mother on a horror movie list. I watch it as horrible experience.
Yeah, Jack thinks I'm a fart-sniffing art critic because I love Mother. But that's fine. I'm down with that.
The great thing about Get Out is I don't really consider it a super duper horror movie, but it is categorized as a horror movie, and it's given guys like us a mainstream movie that we can latch onto. So when I'm watching the Academy Awards and you've got this in The Shape of Water, I'm like, wow, these aren't two of the most like horror of horror movies, but they are the genre. And so I'm going to watch the Academy Awards this year with more interest than probably since Silence of the Lambs or Pulp Fiction was up for something.
Did you hear the sequel to Get Out has already been greenlit?
No, I did not.
Yep, it's called Get In.
Are you joking?
I might be. Get in the goddamn car. It's just the opening sequence of that movie over and over again as they just collect people.
You know, it's a
Stepford people.
You know, it's another movie in the 21st century that really had a lot of influence is Hostel. It gave
Yeah.
birth to like Saw and all that stuff. What they call torture porn.
Torture porn, which I prefer Hostel 2, only because it's way more nudity and better looking girls. But the one disturbing part is DJ's girlfriend from Roseanne is in it, and she's trussed up and naked in one point. I'm like going, oh, I don't want to see DJ's girlfriend. That it just seems like part of the family, and it's just like, oh, I can't look at this.
You do watch Hostel, then watch Euro Trip, and when they get to Amsterdam, all you could think of was, oh wow, this really could have taken a wrong turn.
Because of that movie, when I was in Spain, and you remember I had that hotel that something touched me.
Yes.
And I had a choice to stay at a hostel on the Las Ramblas, or a park bench, and I chose a park bench because that movie ruined it for me. I slept next to homeless guys surrounded by pigeons. That was preferable to a hostel.
After hearing the story of what the heck happened to you, I don't blame you.
Do you think, what would you prefer? The 117 Saw movies we've gotten, or the same amount of Hostel movies?
I thought Hostel 2 was pushing it. But at the same time, Hostel 1, I actually went in with really low expectations and came out going, oh, that's actually a pretty good movie. Hostel 2, I was like, okay, they should really stop now. And there's other sequels that haven't even seen. The Saw, I would have stopped at the first one. So the first one was clever.
What was Jigsaw? Was that 7 or something?
I don't even know.
I kind of got into it for a little while because Shawnee Smith was in it. I love Shawnee Smith. Even that wasn't enough.
What's his name? Donnie Wahlberg's in the first or second one, isn't he?
He's in one of them. They all blend in. Well, I stopped watching them a while ago. I'm not going to watch Saw.
You know what else was
I might watch more Hostels, though. I'm going to be on the Hostel side.
You know what movie took the 21st century by storm? The Dawn of the Dead remake.
With Phil Dunphy.
It's great going back and seeing the cast of that. Phil Dunphy is the prick in this movie.
I know. I've watched it since knowing him as Phil Dunphy. It's jarring.
Yes,
it's kind of ruined the movie for me. Like when he's on screen, I get completely taken out.
I think that this is a decent remake. It's nowhere near as good as the originals, but it really is the reason why zombies came back so strong. This movie hit the mainstream and kind of got the ball rolling on the rebirth of the zombie craze. Right. And it had a lot of nods to the original, some of the original cast. That's actually why I bought the DVD, was I wanted to watch the extras and see like Rogers in this movie and the other SWAT guy. I forget his name. You have his autograph. And they show the helicopter. The beginning sequence with the boyfriend turning is awesome in that movie.
Yeah, that surprised me. And it had Johnny Cash.
Yes. Which was then used to death in every other movie.
Here's a question I have for you, and for everybody else who's watching, listening. If you've seen the Poughkeepsie tapes, how would you rate that? Do you think that's a better found footage horror movie than, say, Blair Witch is at the cusp? Was that 2000 or 99?
I think that was 99.
All right. Well, we'll include it.
You've got Wreck, though.
You got Wreck. You've got that. You've got Paranormal Activity. I got to tell you, when I just saw the Poughkeepsie tapes in the theater recently, it really freaked me out, and I've seen it before.
Yeah, I would actually put that in the top found footage. I'm actually thinking about buying that Blu-ray now. It just came out.
It's really good. Just don't have any distractions. Just get totally into it.
A couple more we have to mention. We only got a couple more minutes here. Year 2000, American Psycho.
Good movie. Tip to be square.
Legendary. Not one of my favorites, but there are moments that are just tremendous in that movie.
I hate the book because the book makes me think I'm going insane. And I gave it to my daughter and I said, you read this. And she goes, after like 30 pages, she goes, I feel like I'm in the mind of a lunatic and I can't take this. I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't just me.
And the other movie that's kind of sweeping the nation besides it, Get Out, is It, the remake of It. And we've sort of seen a renaissance of Stephen King with It, Gerald's Game, what are some of the other
and the last
Dark Tower came out, which sucked, but
Yeah, Dark Tower, Mr. Mercedes, 1924, 2. I forget which year that movie
There's a
was.
TV show about Castle Rock coming out.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
yeah, he needed the money. Thank God we're getting Stephen King all this adaptation money. Just so you know, we're almost done here, guys. We're sorry that it took us so long, but the next show is going to be the horror miser Monty G, which I hear he might give a full Monty if you
Ooh.
stay with it long enough. So could be worth it there, everybody. We did have a Screaming Soup outro video, but I think if we tried that, this whole thing would blow up on us.
Yeah, so if
So we
horror addicts,
apologize.
if horror addicts could, if somebody's there, could put the link in the chat, and if everybody could just check the horror addicts page or the Twitter feed for the next show. We're sorry, we are idiots. We usually do this by in person and record it, or we do it by Skype and record it. So live broadcast for us is nothing, but that's it for us. This is the hour. So join us on Monster Man 13. That's our YouTube channel, and we try to put a couple of episodes out each month. And your comments below are appreciated. And I guess we'll see you next time on
Monster Men.